for joining into this earnings conversation with the management of Cipla. As is the norm every quarter, Kedar Upadhye joins in right now with his thoughts. Kedar, so good having you. Thanks so much for joining in. I hope all is safe. While this is a seasonally weak quarter, were you a bit disappointed with maybe how it turned out? Would you have hoped for maybe slightly better performance? And conversely, of course, I think generic albuterol's performance would have been fairly heartening.
Yeah, I mean, see, we could have done a bit better in some of the markets, but if you remember, when we closed Q3, we had guided for sequentially weaker Q4, and I would urge you to look at more a year-on-year pattern. So if you look at Q4 this year versus last year, we have in fact expanded our margins by 250 basis points. In most of the markets, we have grown really well. And, domestic business, as you know, we were expecting COVID to scale down because the number of cases in Q4 were dramatically lower than Q3. So all in all, I think to a great extent on the line of what we expected. But possibly, yes, we could have done a bit better. But as I said, I think let's look at year-on-year pattern. And let's also, understand the fact that the full year basis, the EBITDA percentage, which is about 22 and beyond. Now we have we have breached our historical zone of 16 to 19%, Neeraj. So I think we have uplifted the EBITDA and profitability and margins to a level based on both revenue and the work that we have done on costs. So that is something pretty satisfactory, Neeraj.
Yeah, and I'm sure it takes a lot to do that in these times, especially for a company in your business. Actually, the belief, Kedar, is that even if so. I understand and I appreciate the fact that if you look at YOY basis, it'll be great. People have looked at it on a sequential basis, have thought of why there was some weakness on the gross margins as well, despite the one-time items. But believe that this was probably the last of the weaker quarters, and led by the catalyst of the COVID-19 medication, Q1, possibly Q2 would be pretty strong for you. I'm guessing it's a safe assumption, but and as bad as it is, because the country needs more of REMDESIVIR, I'm just wondering if you believe that Q1 indeed will be blockbuster, or will it be a good quarter?
Well, I mean, whether we should call it a blockbuster or by any other word, what I would think is you're right. I think Q1 and Q2 and maybe the full year, by the way, should go well. And as we said that, given that we have pulled ourselves from the 16 to 19% profitability zone to 22 and upwards, and we have guided that we would like to maintain it and we would like to, in fact, grow from here upwards. That shows that I think, all of us have confidence in the revenue trajectory. And this confidence comes from the fact that we have a bigger portfolio of COVID this year now. We have already announced bariquetanib and molnupiravir partnerships. We have also spoken about the antibody cocktail. So yes, the COVID portfolio is there, but non-COVID is not behind either. So the work that we have been doing in South African market, in our all international markets put together, which is the emerging market and Europe business put together, and the US, the continuous headroom that we enjoy on albuterol. I would tend to think, I would tend to agree with you that first half should go well. I would say that full year will go well. And there is a confidence, as I said, to maintain and grow on the profitability year up.
So am I understanding this correctly? You are saying the full year will go well, not just because of the, I know both of us don't like using that term, but the COVID catalyst, but the other segments as well chipping in meaningfully in FY22.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we have spoken about last year, for example, FY21, the total COVID revenue was not more than 4.5% of total. And our revenue trajectory is far higher than that, which means that, multiple other levers have worked as well, So that is one. And generally, as we know that the number of cases are going down, which is a great thing to have. But despite that, COVID, servicing COVID will stay as a need for all of us in pharma industry for the next couple of years. So I think, going forward, increasingly separating COVID, etc., might become a little tricky because it's all blended. Supply chain is same, resourcing is same, the delivery, logistics, everything is same. It's a common pool now. So going forward, I think it's going to get blended, in the overall therapy mix that we have. But I mean, just to answer what you said, yes, both COVID and non-COVID will do well in fiscal 22.
Okay. Kedar, one small, actually last couple of questions. One is on how, one of the reasons why the stock is slightly depressed today is because the market expected, or contrary to the market expectations, or the views are, for example, in the CLSA note, it's mentioned that almost all of the key markets, there was a bit of a miss compared to what was anticipated. And both India and global as well, more importantly. Would you reckon, and again, I think you already said that, but I'm just asking you to reiterate, would you reckon that the performance in the global markets is already showing some signs of pickup in some of the key markets?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And as I said, I think judging a long-term secular performance based on only one quarter is not the right thing to do.
Of course, of course.
I wouldn't respond to the commentary of analysts. I think they have obviously their views and we appreciate that, and we take the feedback based on their commentary once a while. I think what's in our hand is to continue to do our work, and we are very confident in the trajectory projected for fiscal 22 across all our markets. I think we have some of the fantastic brands. Serviceability and supply chain is at its highest level of efficiency in the last several years. So I would tend to think that the growth and profitability trajectory is pretty intact.
Okay. My final question, and just thinking about, you've given some sense of how FY22 year would be. You said that you would defend margins easily, hopefully improve upon them as well. All of these are indications, Kedar, then therefore that over the next 2-3 years, you would probably believe that your return ratios would improve from where they are right now. By the way, I'm not saying this is bad. All I'm saying is from where they are right now, they will inch up. Would that be a fair assumption, and could there be impediments to this assumption?
I certainly tend to think so, and that's where management is working towards. In fiscal 21, our return ratios improved by almost 750 basis points. Okay, and there is still further headroom to grow. If you see the capital employed, if you see the returns, if you see some of the levers for launch momentum and growth in our branded and unbranded markets, I think there are a number of levers available to improve the return ratios from here upwards. You are right. I think we have done phenomenal work till now. But it doesn't stop here. I think there are multiple levers on the revenue side, margin side to pull it upwards from here.
Okay. The final question in public interest, Kedar, would there be should people expect uninterrupted supply of REMDESIVIR, so to say, in the near course? Again, I understand it's difficult because it's probably something that you import as well, or in some fashion, there is also some agreements that you would have. But just trying a very layman question, Kedar, out here. And in a very layman way, if you can explain whether that could be an issue going ahead.
Well, I'll tell you what we are seeing in the last 1 week. The number of complaints with respect to shortages have significantly come down.
Of course.
Okay. So the amount of SOS calls and panicky calls that most of us used to get, 2 weeks before, those have gone down significantly. Those have gone down, and I treat that as an indicator that the work that Cipla and all our other colleagues have done. And reduction in quality clearance time, improvement in raw material availability and all of that. I think all this put together will mean that shortages they have significantly gone down. And going forward, that will continue as well. And what will also help is the fact that number of cases are going down.
Yes.
It's a very fortunate thing which is happening, So both of this will help Niraj on the supply situation for REMDESIVIR. And I hope that every patient who needs REMDESIVIR will get it henceforth.
Yeah, inshallah. No. And please don't misunderstand me, Kedar. I'm no way saying that this is a fault of Cipla, right? Because I understand there needs to be adequate demand, and it's a difficult, complex system to run. I was just trying from a layman's perspective as to how this will go ahead. Thank you so much, Kedar, for joining in. and giving us the perspective.
Thank you, Neeraj. Stay safe. Thank you.
You too. Thank you. Viewers, thanks for tuning in.